It's time for Remodel Revolution. And now, an award-winning contractor with over 40 years experience. Here is Alex Guthrie.
Welcome to another episode of Remodel Revolution. I'm your host, Alex Guthrie, and we are at the end of 2020. Thank you, God, for letting us get through it alive. The comet missed. Well, today you have me all to yourself, and I have you all to myself. I thought it would be a great time to do an end of the year video or show and go through some videos that we've done that I've had on YouTube. And they're not all show videos. They're actually mostly just YouTube videos that I've been doing. But before I get into the program, I wanted to ask you to please go to the YouTube channel at Remodel Revolution and become a subscriber. We depend on our audience to not only become subscribers, but to share our videos. We would love for you to share the videos and also interact with me. Send me questions. I'm getting people from all over the country asking about certain videos that I'm putting up, wanting information and advice, and that's what we're here for. And we need a larger audience. And also on our podcast channel, if you're a podcast listener, I podcast off of Spreaker. That is my sort of my home base on my podcast. But you can reach me on Spotify, Apple, Pandora, virtually any podcast platform. It seems like I'm on almost all of them. I'm sure there's some I'm not. There's probably 100 of them, but I'm on most of them. And so go to our podcast, go your podcast channel and look up Remodel Revolution and become a follower and I guess a subscriber. I'm not exactly sure what they call them on podcasts. On YouTube, we need more subscribers because we're going to try and continue to expand our YouTube presence, and we have to have a minimum number of subscribers to start getting some love out of Google and YouTube. You know how that goes. So today, I wanted to go through some videos that we've been doing, and they're some of the more popular videos, but I wanted to expound on a few of them and discuss them. And if you have any questions, send me a question on Facebook, and I'll try to respond to it during the show. And I look forward to hearing from you. So first of all, my most popular video has been moisture under a slab. Now this video has about over 9,000 views, and I'm assuming that this is a sort of a problem that people have been having all over the country. I'm getting views from everywhere. And so I wanted to run it, and then we'll discuss it on the other side. So this is moisture under the slab. So we're back at the rescue house, and we're back in the bedroom where the flooring has all the mold. And the old wood floors, pardon me, I just had to open the window, try and get rid of some of this echo. The floor that we removed and cleaned up the concrete as well as we could. And what we found is, I think the source of where the water's coming from, this is a floor where the wood was all moldy. And the room actually smells like mold, so I think there's probably more of it in these walls than we know about. But right here you can see these little fissures in the concrete, and you can see the little dark areas around them that have moisture coming through them still. And this has been, this floor was removed probably almost a week ago now, but it still isn't dried out, and I don't know that it will be, because I think that there's a big moisture problem underneath the foundation. I think that's been the cause of this whole problem. That's my guess. Now we checked the water meter, and we took a picture of it and checked it 2 weeks later, took another picture of it, and it was exactly in the same spot. In other words, there doesn't appear to be any pressurized water leak. But what I do know about water leaks under these slabs is that there can be a pressurized and a not pressurized water leak. And one can be caused, not pressurized, is if you had a sewer leak or some plumbing under there that's passive, that doesn't have pressure on it, just as gravity fed. In older houses, that was the case a lot of times because of the clay or cast iron piping, but in this house, I don't think that's an issue. The other thing, of course, is if you have water just migrating from the outside, where I'm showing you this little area right here where this concrete border is. I've shown you that before, and I do believe that things like these tend to trap water and force it up under the foundation. But in the case of this house, I don't believe we have a pressurized plumbing leak, because we would, first of all, we would see it in the water meter, and secondly, we would see damage in this slab wherever it's leaking. You would see the water coming up, and there was so much of a moisture problem. I think it's something that would be obvious. So it's not just some tiny little pinhole spray in a mist. There's a lot of water coming up through here. I believe that it's water that's migrating up from under the ground. I don't think there's a plastic vapor barrier under. This was a house that we were working on that was built in the 80s, and in older homes, slab homes, sometimes back then it was not common to put a plastic vapor barrier on top of the dirt between the concrete and the dirt. Nowadays we do that, that's code. But back then we didn't do that. And the problem we have now is a lot of these older slabs have moisture that permeates up through them from ground moisture. And ground moisture is always present under your foundation unless you're in a drought. Excuse me. So one of the thing that came out of this video as much as anything for me is the way people are installing these wood floors. Now, the reason this showed itself, if you look at earlier videos on that house, we called that the rescue house. I've moved them all over to the Remodel Revolution show playlist on YouTube, so you can find them there. Is that when we went in and saw that there was a lot of moisture actually in the engineered wood flooring, and I could see in the cracks in between the boards, I could see efflorescence. I have to remember how to pronounce that now, because there's effervescence and efflorescence, and I could see the white area, white chalky look in between the boards where moisture had been coming up and leaving sediment. Also, I could actually see water stains, and of course we saw a bunch of mold. And so what had happened was they had glued that floor down, and when they glued the floor, when you glue flooring down to concrete, particularly this wood flooring, you don't have a moisture barrier between the bottom of the floor and the concrete. And in an older home, if you don't have that plastic moisture barrier between the dirt and the bottom of the foundation, then you have a huge moisture issue often. I've seen this repeatedly for many, many years. I've always recommended that people not glue down these wood floors. I don't care what your floor guy says. I don't. I have replaced too many of them, and I don't think the floor guy really cares. It's the easiest, fastest thing for him to do is glue it down. He just wants to get it done and get out of there. I saw a message, I can't remember if it was on Facebook or where somewhere this week, where somebody had bought a new house, a year old, and the flooring is shrinking. There's gaps in the flooring. And they called the builder, and the builder comes over, and the builder sends the floor guy over, and everybody said, oh, you know, it's just natural shrinkage. It's to be expected. Folks, it's not. There's been times in the early days, I'm not say early days, but I'll just say in the 80s and 90s when I was dealing with a lot of vinyl flooring, and I'm talking about sheet vinyl in kitchens and things like that, where we had problems where the glue they were using, what the adhesive for the vinyl was actually causing problems with the vinyl, causing the vinyl to shrink at the end of the day. That's what happened. The vinyl shrank, and we actually had to go in and replace floors because it was so bad. I think there's a lot of that going on here. You can't take just any adhesive and stick down these floors without expecting some sort of a reaction. That's one thing that can be happening. The other thing is we have central air and heat in our houses. And so it's introducing moisture, and then it's pulling moisture out, and that's affecting that floor. And that floor will shrink 1/4 of an inch. And you'll start seeing gaps in it. So here's the solution. With all that being said, here's the solution. Don't glue down your wood floor. Put a floating floor, and you'll see, you can find specs on it now, and they're talking more and more about it. I think this is a bigger problem than people know. They can put a moisture barrier down, it could just be plastic, but it's got to be sealed. I did one recently. I love the little mats you can put under them because it sort of softens them up. It feels more like a wood floor. It doesn't feel like you're walking on concrete on top of a wood floor. You don't have nearly the potential for shrinkage and movement, or if you do, because you've got a little air and a little cushion underneath it, it gives it the ability to get back to where it should have been originally. So in an old wood floor on a pier and beam house, they'll cup a certain time of the year when it's humid, they'll cup up, but then when it dries out, they'll go back down into place. That's just a natural reaction. And so on these manufactured floors, particularly when we started using exotic woods, one of the things when you're wanting to use an exotic wood on these engineered floors, you have to remember that veneer of that exotic wood is very, very thin, paper thin. And so I've always advised my clients to look at the end of the wood when they're looking at these floors, trying to make a decision, and check to see the thickness of that veneer. And if that veneer is thick enough that it can be sanded and refinished at least one time without ruining it, then I think it's probably a good floor. But if it's too thin to do that, then you need to make sure that your floor is sealed on the bottom and on the top so that moisture won't affect it, or you could potentially have a failure or in a big problem. So when you're doing wood floors, here's the bottom line. If you're doing engineered wood floors on top of a slab, I highly recommend you not glue them, that you actually put a moisture barrier down and do what's called a floating floor. Talk to your floor guy about it. He'll know what you're talking about. That video got a lot of views, and I think it's because there's lots of people that are having problems with this, particularly during the wet part of the year in the spring. So another video that we did that got quite a few views was the proper way to build a hearth. Now, this came about, and this is actually came from the same house as the previous video. When I looked at the hearth, and the hearth had been was built up higher than the bottom of the fireplace. In other words, when there was a log burning in the fireplace, the hearth was actually taller than the bottom of the fireplace. Now, the plan I found out from the owner was to raise the bottom of the fireplace with some sort of gravel or filler or something, and just have gas logs in it. But that was there was several things that were really wrong with the plan they had. Now, this is a homeowner that hired the wrong people to work on his house, people that just didn't know what they were doing, but he trusted them. And when I looked at this hearth, this raised hearth for this fireplace, the first thing that occurred to me was that there was going to be potential for a big fire. First of all, it was framed out of wood, and that wood part that it was framed out of was actually exposed to the inside of the firebox. So I could think of about 1,000 ways that could be a big problem. And secondly, they were going to wrap it with marble. Well, why would you do that? I mean, you can't put marble on a wood frame and expect it to hold up without cracking at some point. So I immediately tore that thing out, and we replaced it with a hayite block hearth, raised hearth. And we actually came up with a plan so that this would not be a fire hazard. This video is showing some tips on how to do that. And I brought it in here because I've got quite a few views on it. I think people are interested in the information we're providing on the proper way to do a raised hearth. So we're going to cut to that video for a couple of minutes and show you what we're talking about. Hey, back at the rescue house, we're starting the new hayite block or concrete block hearth for the fireplace. Now, if you'll remember, the old hearth was wood, and I had a fit because wood burns. Why would you put a wood hearth in front of your fireplace? Oh, you can leave that on, that's fine. It's good, I like it. Musica. So, we're starting to put in our concrete block now. And we know this won't burn. So we're going to make this hearth 18 inches out from the wall, and we're going to go the same length as the old hearth because we like the way it was set. We just didn't like what they built it out of. When we're finished with this, we'll be able now to attach the granite or marble, whatever they choose for the finish. Actually, I think the tile, floor tile is going to go up the face of this, and then we'll have a granite or marble for the top. But this will end up being 18 inches, just about 18 by 18, roughly. It'll go up to this cut line in the sheetrock, and that'll be the height of it. And then it'll be approximately 18 inches deep. And that'll give them plenty of room to sit comfortably on it, which is really what they wanted. When you put moisture on the floor, it helps the concrete absorb. First of all, he's cleaning it, but secondly, a good mason always will put moisture down first. It helps that mastic that he's putting on there actually soak down into the concrete when it. That was a great lesson on the proper way to put a hearth in and a proper hearth. It's interesting because after this, I did this video. I was at a friend's house and she was having it remodeled, and the people had done exactly what I said not to do. And I told her to tell her contractor, do not build that raised hearth out of wood, but I came in there and they built it out of plywood. I mean, I'm trying, folks, I really am. But let me assure you that anything around your wood burning fireplace or your gas log fireplace, anything that has an exposed flame does not want to be flammable, okay? So if you have even the edge of the plywood exposed to that heat, you just never know when something could start on fire. So don't do it, and make them do it the right way. That's the thing. They didn't give you a bid to do the work the wrong way. They gave you a bid to do the work the right way. So make them do it. Have them go look at these videos on Remodel Revolution, because I've got over 200 of them. And you need to be watching them. And incidentally, while I'm on the subject, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Remodel Revolution. We would love to have you part of the family, have you in here. If you have any questions, send them to me. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we've got another video to show you.
The hardest working and arguably most important system in our homes is our air conditioning and heating system. It heats the air, it cools the air, and it filters the air. That's why it's so critical to have it checked and maintained by the very best professionals available. It's time to contact Total Air and Heat at totalair.com. Get that system pruned and tuned. If you want to have the very best experience, you've got to hire the very best company. Total Air's employees are honest, well-trained, and thoroughly background checked. I never have to worry about sending their technicians out to my clients' homes. Family owned and operated for 3 generations, Total Air and Heat has been a fixture in North Dallas for over 60 years. Total Air is a proud dealer of the Trane air conditioning systems, and you know how hard it is to stop a Trane, so give them a call at 972-881-0020. That's 972-881-0020, or contact them at totalair.com today.
One of the things that I love doing in remodeling and in doing this show is introducing you to new products. And I'm learning, of course, every day. It's interesting because remodeling and the whole concept of remodel revolution, is to introduce you to people and products. Really, we've interviewed people all over the world for different things, feng shui, Shasta Vastu. Hopefully I said that right. I don't think so. And people that have started businesses, women in construction, which is near and dear to my heart. We've also interviewed first-generation Americans in construction, and I love your story. So everybody has a story. Every one of us, every human being has a story, and I love your stories. I love to hear the things you're doing, how you got there, why you went there. It's really interesting to me, and that's really what Remodel Revolution is about. It's about the people that are not only remodeling, but the people that have new ideas and fresh approaches. And one of the things I love are some of the new products that have been coming to the market really for the last 10, 15 years. Has been really phenomenal as processes have changed in manufacturing that have allowed us to use more synthetic products that resemble natural products, and they're better and better and better. They look real, but they're easier to install, and we can get some fantastic finishes. So our next video is about a product called Air Slate. I had never heard of Air Slate. It may have been around for a long time, but I love this product, and I'm running this video because so many of you have been interested in it as well. Air Slate is they told me it's real slate. I don't know what it is, honestly, but the look we got with it was really, really fantastic. It really made a difference in this house. So let's go. We'll cut to the video for a couple of minutes and we'll come back. So today we're at the rescue house and we're installing the Air Slate. And this is a really fascinating product. As you can see up here, it's real thin. It's about maybe 1/8 of an inch thick, maybe 3/16. And what we're doing is we're putting a mud base up on the wall and then applying this to it. This is actually real slate applied to this material. And when you look at it, it looks like a giant piece of slate up on the wall. It's very great. It's cool stuff. The other thing is this wall was a little out of plumb and a little out of square. And it required that the mason put a bed of mortar on the wall, spread it on the wall, and then kind of work it until he got it square and plumb where the corners would work out and everything looked straight. The great thing about this material is he just takes his grinder with a diamond blade and cuts it like butter.
Then we're going to put the air slate up here. This is the mantle or the wall in front of the fireplace. And then down here on the hearth where we have Paydot block, it's going to go down there as well. It's going to really look cool.
As you can see, using these new manufactured processes and these new manufactured materials can really enhance your house. But the main thing that I wanted to get across with that video and during that whole series of the rescue house is that you have to have the right people doing it. If you hire the right people to do the job, generally it'll go well. And if there's a problem with something they do or a problem, they'll stand behind it. Now, what we had on this particular project, we called the rescue house because we were in fact literally rescuing the house. And we spent several months, 6 months or something in there rebuilding this house, totally redoing things in this house that never should have had to be redone. But I don't know who was in charge of whom before I got there, but there were people working on that house that simply were not qualified to do what they did. So I ended up having to fix a bunch of things that were done wrong. The next video that we show is same house, but they had put a flat ceiling in the shower. Now, I'll tell you why this, and again, this is another video we're getting quite a few views on. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat this morning. Let me tell you about a flat ceiling in a shower. If you have a shower that has a steam unit in it, as this shower did, in particular, you want a sloped ceiling. Why is that? Well, if you've ever stood in a shower that had a flat ceiling and had a lot of steam in it, by the time you're ready to get out of the shower, you're having cold water drip on you like a rainstorm in the forest. It's terrible. And the reason that's happening is because the ceiling is flat. There's condensation on the ceiling. Now, this is mostly with a tile ceiling, but it could be any ceiling in a shower. If the ceiling is not sloped where that condensation and that water can go down to the wall and run down the wall to the floor drain, then it's got no other choice but to come down on top of your warm head. And that's usually cold water dripping on you. So in this same house, this is the rescue house, we had to go in and tear out the ceiling in the master shower and slope it. And I did a short video on that. Let's check it out.
Okay, back at the rescue house, one of the things that we discovered is that the owner is putting in a steam shower. And one of the things that you do with a steam shower is you have to slope the ceiling. And that was never done by the previous builder. So we had to tear out the ceiling over the shower, and then we sistered up on the joist, and you can see where the joist come down a little bit low, and we put a 3/4 inch slope in it. And so now when they take a steam bath or a steam, the moisture will go on the sloped ceiling and it'll go down that wall and get out. Otherwise, if you don't do that, when you steam, it'll drip on you like a rain shower. And that can get pretty chilly, and it'll actually kind of drive you crazy. I've been in one that did that. It's not much fun. So that is another phase of this, and we're just about ready in this master bathroom to come in and start doing the finish work in here. So that'll be on upcoming video. If you're enjoying these videos, make sure and subscribe and like and comment.
You know, it just helps to have somebody that knows what they're doing. Now, in that video, one of the things that I don't have in there, and I don't have a good video of it, and I sure wish I did, the same guy that did the framing in that shower originally, not me, did some floor drains in it, convinced the owner that he could put some floor drains in it. And when he did, when we ended up having to remove the shower floor and redo it as well, we found that the floor drains weren't even connected underneath the dirt. It was really a pathetic thing. And I have more videos on that. I do have videos showing how they also, in that same shower, when they went back with the concrete, they didn't tie anything back together in the rebar. That shower floor would have lasted maybe 2 weeks before it started cracking. We had to go back in and rebuild the whole thing, which was good for the owner because it was not done right. So in our next video, we're going to go to a different project that we've done, and this was another video that we're getting a lot of views on, and it's how to install a floor. Now the backdrop on this is that we had a living room floor that had or a living room that had a wood floor that they laid on top of the flooring, but they never chamfered it down to the floor in the room we were in. So we had to actually fur this floor up so the tile and the wood floor in the living room matched up. But previous to us being there, you had a lip where you went from room to room. So we got rid of that lip. But I love this video. I love the style of this tile, and the way this entire project turned out was fantastic. But let's check this video out on some tips on how to properly install a tile floor over concrete.
Floor. We decided that we wanted to do a 1/3 spacing on this tile, offset, 1/3 offset. And also I wanted to start a whole tile in these doorways. That's where I wanted to start my full tiles. So I have a full tile going into the next room. And then from this wall all the way to the garage wall back here is the direction we're running them, so we get the length of the room. The wonderful thing about being able to use this backer is that it saves a ton of time, and it gives us a good flat surface to work on. And that's kind of the advantage of having it. When you have a slab foundation, you can go ahead and use it. So pretty soon, I think by the end of today, he'll have most of this room done. We'll be doing another video to show you how it ends up. And I notice David's using a really thick, on his knife, it's got the notches in it, or what are those, 1/4 inch, 3/8 inch notches, 1/2 inch on your trowel?
Oh, 1/2 inch.
1/2 inch. The 1/2 inch notches on the trowel, and bigger the notch on the trowel, the thicker the thin set.
That's a fantastic video. That really shows what good craftsmen can do, particularly tile people. One of the things that I run into a lot in remodeling is having to repair things that were done wrong previously. It's not always bad people. It's just that they sometimes don't know what they're doing. They think it looks simple. And so sometimes people hire the wrong person. Maybe it was the cheapest bid. A lot of times people think that all tradesmen are equal, but they're not. They're certainly not. So before you hire tradesmen to come in and do a tile floor or whatever it is in your house, make sure and check their references, and make sure, if you can, to look at some of their work, because your idea of quality is not necessarily going to be their idea of quality. So it's super important that you understand what you're getting into. And if you feel uncomfortable, just don't hire them. Move on to another one. Our next video is going back to the rescue house. And this video has gotten a lot of views for good reason. One of the problems we had in the rescue house was that the original framing, the original contractor did the original remodel we're in there fixing, did not comply with some of the plans. So in this particular video, we're having to go in and we're having to rebuild a ceiling. Now, we had to do that in 2 rooms, but one of them was a garage. And in the garage, there was over an inch sag in this ceiling. It had only been there for 2 years. And it was because they did not follow the direction of the engineer, and they used substandard materials, and they were supposed to put a steel frame underneath it. They didn't do anything they were supposed to do. So we had to go back in and rebuild it. And this video shows sort of what I'm walking you through what we had to do. Let's check it out.
Okay, well, we're back here, and this is our final framing video for the rescue house and the garage. The last 2 videos we did, we had it under construction. I showed you the demo, and I showed you all the walls we put up, and here's our finished product on the framing end of it. So what happened is it was under supported structurally. The previous contractor did not follow the engineer's recommendations, and they used too small of TJIs in the floor, and they spanned them too far. And the actual engineered specifications were for 16-inch web trusses, but for some reason they used 14-inch TJIs, which are like totally different things, and they were not rated to carry the weight that was being required of them, and they sagged. So there was a big sag in the floor right up in here. So we, along with the engineer, designed a solution, which was to add a series of beams that did a couple of things. One of the things it does is, you can see, it shortened the span of the TJIs from 22.5 or 23 feet to they're roughly 15 feet. They're less than half, or I'm sorry, not less than half, but they're probably about 12 feet. We also strategically placed these beams under walls that are upstairs. So right above this beam is the second floor exterior wall that carries stucco and the roof load for the second floor. This had a particularly troublesome amount of stress on it because these little bitty TJIs were just not rated to carry it. So it created a big problem for me. I was really concerned about the stability of it. This beam is under a wall that is an interior wall, but it's a main kind of load-bearing wall that's got the roof on the second floor sitting.
I don't know how they got away with it. I don't know why it got inspected and covered up with sheetrock before I got there. That ceiling was never right. We had to do so much work, and I felt so bad for the homeowner. But I'll tell you, I think that we avoided a major catastrophe because structurally that ceiling was already starting to collapse when I got there. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got one more short video we're going to talk about, and that's hiring the wrong contractor. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Imagine this, a totally customized, organized, and beautiful master closet. A home office that fits right into a perfect space. A pantry designed specifically for your storage needs. Imagine your home totally organized. It's time to call the design professionals at Closets by Design DFW and turn your dreams into a reality. With a design staff over 30 strong, Closets by Design works directly with you to create your dream space, and they build it locally, helping support the DFW community. Check them out at dallas.closetsbydesign.com or call them at 972-361-0010. Use the promo code RRV to find out about the amazing specials and discounts available. That's dallas.closetsbydesign.com or call them at 972-361-0010, and don't forget that promo code RRV, Closets by Design.
We're going to close out today's show, the video portion of the show, with a short video that I did with Poonam. And we're talking about hiring the wrong contractor. Let's check this one out.
All right, so we're working on a house that the homeowner hired the wrong person. They made two fundamental mistakes. Well, they made a lot of mistakes. First of all, where this offset is in the floor of this living room, instead of doing lightweight concrete, they decided to frame the floor and fill it with plywood and, in this case, 2x4s. Now, we quit doing this years ago because you can't mix the framing with the concrete. But in this case, the homeowner wants a tile floor in here. We're putting
So I had a little mistake there. I thought this was a different video, but let me tell you about that video. That's the rescue house. A lot of houses that over the years, I've had lots of people ask me to fill in their step down or their sunken living room floors. And I had one lady, an older lady, that walked in there one night and tripped and fell and broke her leg or something. And we ended up coming up with a system to raise those floors. And let me tell you what the wrong system is. The video you just saw, and again, go to our YouTube channel, Remodel Revolution, and check out that video. If you have a sunken floor and you're thinking about raising it, it's really important that you understand the right and the wrong way to do it. They tried to do that one with wood. It was a mistake from the get-go. Never would have worked, particularly since they were going to have tile, part of it on top of a wood frame floor, and meeting up to the tile that's on the concrete floor. Never would have worked. It would have been cracking and awful from day one. So we pulled that floor out. I've got 2 or 3 more videos on that. We removed that floor, and then we came back and we brought it up with concrete that had rebar in it. Actually strengthened the floor. I've actually had somebody send me an email and say, I heard that made the floor too heavy. That's not true. And we, of course, we use lightweight concrete anyway. But at any rate, we can get into all that at another time. If you have any questions about it, contact me, alex@remodelrev.com, alex@remodelrev.com, or send a question to Facebook. You can post it right there. We'll discuss it. Maybe we'll get a discussion with some other folks. Or if you go to Remodel Revolution on YouTube, you can also leave a question there. I respond as fast as I get those questions. And I wanted to take this moment, my last few moments on the show today, and I wanted to thank my partners at On Air Media. I have been here now, I think, about 18 months, getting close to 2, maybe even closer to 2 years now. And it seems like it was just yesterday. These folks have been fantastic. If you have any needs, if you're wanting to do anything with your business that involve videos or video marketing or anything like that, you ought to contact my friends at On Air Media. and talk to them. They're really, really a great group of people, super creative, and they've been very, very good business partners for my show. Also, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We need to get our subscription rates up, and we're going to continue to produce more videos. We have other series that we're doing. We're doing the If Your House Could Talk series, which is with Donnie Mack. We're doing a series of videos of building a house from the dirt through the roof. They're educational. They're going to be used to educate builders and homeowners. Check that out. That's one of my playlists on my YouTube channel. And we're going to continue to do more how-to videos this year. I'm going to focus the show on more videos and, of course, our podcasts. And our podcasts are getting great reviews. They're fun to listen to, and none of them are longer than about 15 minutes. They'll go from 7 to 15 minutes. And so they're easy to listen to. You can just put it on on play, and it'll keep playing one after another while you're driving to your vacation. So keep listening to them, and you'll learn a lot, and you'll meet a lot of interesting people. Secondly, I wanted to tell you how much I appreciate you as an audience. I've had so much fun doing this. Now, going from radio to video has been quite the experience. There's been quite a learning curve for me, and it's been really, really fun, and I like to continue to do it. But I need sponsors. So if you're thinking about, promoting your business and you want to get out here, this is a good, affordable way to do it. Contact me. We're looking for sponsors always. And if you have any video needs, give us a shout, and maybe we can help you out with that. I'd like to thank our sponsor. Total Air and Heat has been a fantastic business partner for many, many years with my various shows. Steve Lawton and his family are fabulous people. They've been in business in Dallas for 60 years. They've been fantastic in the community. I hope that if you have any air conditioning needs, you'll give them a call first, because they're super, super dependable and very professional. I think you'll like dealing with them like I do. And also Closets by Design. Closets by Design has been around for a long time. I knew the original franchise owners here in the 90s, and the new owners are really, really great people, and I'm doing other business with them as well. That's how much I like them. Also, Hargrave Foundation Repair, Randy Hargrave, they've been in business for 60 some odd years. I really, really like working with them. I work with them on my remodel projects, and I refer them to as many people as I can. So check out Hargrave Foundation. And Windsor Door, they do all of our garage doors. Windsor Door is a great company. They've got offices all over the country, and they're very innovative. And you'd maybe be surprised at how garage doors have changed in the last 10 or 15 years. So check out Windsor Door if you're needing a new garage door. And so with that, we're going to close the 2020 season for Remodel Revolution. And thank you for being an audience. And I hope you'll stay with us and engage me to bring you more things that you want to see, and let me know how we're doing at remodelrevolution.com or Alex at remodelrev.com. We just changed that. I'm getting used to it. It's remodelrev.com. Alex at remodelrev.com. Contact me, and I look forward to a beautiful, wonderful, healing, peaceful, amazing 2021. Thanks, folks. Have a great week.
The views and opinions of this program are for educational and entertainment purposes only and are not intended to replace the recommendations of a hired professional. You can catch Remodel Revolution anytime. Follow the show on the website, remodelrevolutionradio.com, or on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, using the handle at Remodel Revolution Radio. You can always listen to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn, and watch the show anytime on YouTube.